some love. The Rock is cooking. If you want the Rock to win his ass to this ring, give me a hell yeah.
And there's our other hell yeah for the night. WB Ward back with you on SCI Wrestling along with
Mr. Chip Douglas.
Nice to have you back here.
Well, it's good to be back.
We missed a week.
We do apologize for all the listeners out there.
Well, now, in the interest of full disclosure, we did miss a week, but remember, I'm the one who made that call.
You are. You're the one who made the call.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the one who made that call. And just for logistical purposes, it was made. I stand by the decision. But I got to tell you, in all honesty, if there's anybody who missed it last week and was kind of upset that we didn't have a show ready to go, I want you to know from the very bottom of my heart, I really don't care. The decision I made was the right one, and I'm going to stand by it.
Yeah, it was just we had to change the day to record, and the whole focus of the show would be the Royal Rumble, which would start about 2-3 hours after the show would air.
Yeah.
So we would outdate ourselves in a matter of hours. So for us to do that consciously, because we couldn't do it on our regular normal day, it just didn't make sense. But we're back, and for our apologies, we're gonna give you a special 1-hour episode of SCI Wrestling, so that way we could play catch up.
By the way, for the wrestling purist who's going to say, "Well, the Monday Night Raw never missed a show." No, they never missed a show, but they were in fact recorded at first, so they weren't always live.
Exactly.
So they may not have missed a show, but boy, they certainly manufactured their share of them. That's for sure. Okay, let's first use our this usual opening time for our usual stuff of reaffirming our social media. Of course, you can go online to. Tell us about Facebook, and I'm drawing a blank.
Facebook is Square Circle Insider Wrestling, so we can go follow us. And then we have SCI_Wrestling, which is our Twitter handle. And then just type in SCI Wrestling on YouTube, and you'll be able to listen to the show that way.
Yeah, what he said.
And then send your email questions to, is it SCI Wrestling or SCI?
It's SCI@WBWard.com.
And we got a question, which we will answer later in the episode.
Actually, there's a very short question, too, we're going to be addressing.
Oh,
but
okay.
Before we get to any of that, it's time to rev up Mr. Jackson.
Oh! Thank you, Michael.
Get down with your funky self, young man.
All right. So this tweet of the week is brought to you by someone that I'm trying to find.
Now I don't feel so bad for drawing a blank. You're getting your old man disease. I didn't realize that was contagious.
Well, apparently it is. It's brought to you by at Wrestling Lad, which is a someone that follows us, and we follow them.
Oh, cool.
And their tweet. Now, this is going to go into probably our main story, or the first story we're going to go into, and it might take some explaining. But he goes, I think Hunenico wants a chance to be CM Punk at WrestleMania 30.
Hunenico?
Hunenico. The only reason that's funny is because he was one of the guys who did the little bicycles, the tag team, and and they
yeah.
So why that's funny is because the fact that they fired the original Sin Cara and replaced them with Hunenico, and now it's still Sin Cara.
Really? I wasn't aware that they changed people into the mask.
Yeah, they changed the Sin Cara actual wrestler.
Oh, okay. So, that's the great thing about having a masked wrestler. You can make change, and changes like that historically have been made. I mean, how many Mr. X's have there been?
Oh, plenty.
How many Destroyers have there been?
Yeah.
And they all look alike. And what was the tag team, the masked tag team that wore white? Something to do with doctors.
What? No, I don't know.
They had white masks, white tights, white shirts.
I don't know.
The Masked Medics. That's the only thing that's coming to my mind.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, we have been receiving some email over at SCI@WBWard.com. And of course, if we use your email during the show, you will be receiving a special prize. We're going to be giving out absolutely free 3MB air guitars.
Yes, that's right.
So we got a couple of those out on the way. Now, one of them, here's the first one that I haven't even told you about.
Yeah, because I only know of one question.
So we'll do this one because I've got a feeling this is not going to last very long.
Okay.
This email came, and it's okay if we identify these people just by their first name, right? Okay. This came from a young lady by the name of Lauren, wanting to know if Chip was married.
Yes, I am. I am married.
You say that with regret.
I just can't believe it.
Hey, that makes two of us. Okay. Well, I think we might have quenched, squashed some dreams there.
I know. It's hard to say, but many people like the curly hair and blue eyes.
You stud,
that I possess. So. But yes, at this moment I am.
Yeah, if you get any further behind in your payments, you'll be repossessed.
That's true.
Okay, but on to another one, a big one. I had a young man by the name of Joshua drop us off an email. The email was entitled, "What if WrestleMania had no budget?" And using that as his premise, he designed a WrestleMania 30 fantasy card. Some of these I think would be pretty awesome. The first one that he mentions on here, you can tell he listens to this show because the very first thing he mentions is Cody Rhodes versus Goldust with Dusty Rhodes as special guest referee. So, he's been following this show.
Yeah.
But we've already talked about that to death. But what's interesting is he puts in the very next match Sheamus against the Undertaker.
Now that one, it's a little interesting, and there has been little rumors going around that there's an outside, very very small chance that is a match that actually could happen. I like it from the simple sense of if Undertaker is going to lose at a WrestleMania, he needs to lose to someone that he can give a little bit of rub off to, and Sheamus is still young enough that he could definitely use the rub. I'm not a big Sheamus fan, so he wouldn't be my ideal pick.
Yeah.
But that's as far as the aspect of Undertaker losing as someone that can use the rub. Yeah, that'd be ideal.
Actually, I would prefer to see Sheamus coming to the ring with The Undertaker, almost serving as a replacement for Paul Bearer, because Sheamus is about the only other personality within the WWE who was just as pale as Paul Bearer was.
Oh, gosh, isn't that true?
I mean, this guy is
so
like,
true.
Man, this is a white dude.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, his next matchup that he has, now this would be pretty interesting.
Ooh.
You may not... Well, he does suggest a tag team, and one of the tag teams would be Jimmy Snuka teaming up with Tamina.
Which is his daughter.
Going up against a mixed tag team match but against Bret Hart with Natalya.
Which is his niece.
I think that would be pretty interesting.
That'd be fun. It'd be a fun gimmick match. Physically, I don't know if Bret Hart is physically able to do it.
Well, what about Snuka?
I mean,
this guy's...
I don't even know if he could do it.
No, this guy has to be, what, 100?
70.
He's up there.
He's getting up there. I think I just read an article because remember quite a few months ago I talked about this supposed murder of Jimmy Snuka's ex-girlfriend back in the mid-90s or mid-80s.
Right.
And they're reopening up that case again, and it doesn't look good from Mr. Old Snuka.
Really?
So, yeah, it doesn't look good at all. I didn't research it enough to get a lot of details for this show, but I definitely will do that for the next one.
That would be very interesting. I wonder if he just got hit on the head way too hard with that coconut.
Possibly. It just I know some of the wounds that she had because she died of a head force trauma, and
he's the prime suspect.
Right now he is. Right now he is, just because the stories aren't matching to how it actually happened. So I don't know. Keep listening, and
that'll be an interesting
information.
story to follow up on for sure.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, the next match that he gives, this is from Mr. Joshua, Randy Orton versus Batista for the WWE title.
Well, that we're going to see.
Yeah, and I think they pretty well pigeonholed that one right off the bat.
Right.
So much for the no budget thing.
Right.
Okay, Big E versus Mark Henry versus Daniel Bryan for Intercontinental title.
I'm not a fan of that one.
I don't like three-way matches. The
triple threat?
Triple threat matches. I think that's just an old... this is a thing that WWE goes to the well very, very often, and I think they do it way too often.
I like triple threats, but it has to be used with the right individuals.
But you don't think the matchup between Big E, Mark Henry, and Daniel Bryant would be...
Boy, they're just so contrasted, different styles. In a triple threat match, that'd be... it might be a little hard to watch. I don't know.
Now, to see Big E...
If you threw Roman Reigns in there instead of Mark Henry, then I'd be more interested.
Okay. Yeah, because the way it is now... If you stand Daniel Bryan up in the ring and put Mark Henry and Big E on either side of him, you have the quintessential Oreo cookie. I mean, right there.
That's true. That's true.
It looked like the wow. Okay, Wyatt family versus Sting teaming with AJ Styles, 3-on-2.
3-on-2.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm an AJ Styles fan, so there's still Sting rumors floating out there a lot.
I just don't think Sting's ever going to come back to WWE.
Well, he never was in WWE.
Well, he was actually. Actually, he was. He just never came up. I was watching an interview on YouTube with the Stinger not too long ago, and he actually was with WWE. He just never finalized everything to go through. But when they took over the WCW,
when they did the buyout,
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
So they're
because all those contracts just transferred over.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
And he just had an option on that he chose. Nah, I don't think so.
Well, I'm gonna stay home and make money.
Okay, for the tag team title, the Real Americans versus the Usos.
Sure.
I think the Usos are pretty much, they're jobbing them out a lot.
I like the Real Americans. I especially like Cesaro.
Now, there you and I really split ways.
Why?
Because I don't like Cesaro.
Oh, I think Cesaro's an amazing talent.
Well, those 2 leg bands he has on just bothers the crap out of me.
I don't look at that.
For me, that's just like, having a loose tooth in your mouth where your tongue always finds it and plays with it.
Right.
I can't help but look at them. They just look so stupid. If they got rid of that, maybe changed his outfit a little bit, yeah, maybe. And I understand how superficial that's making me sound, but the fact of the matter is, in professional wrestling, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about packaging, and packaging and branding is the whole thing. And for me, it just doesn't work. Now, his current tag team partner, do you ever see him making a comeback or them ever doing another push with him at all?
No.
I don't either. And being a fellow Oklahoman, I hate that.
Yeah.
What do you think his biggest holdup is?
I think he lacks a little bit of charisma.
A little
bit of charisma.
Okay.
And his mic work isn't stellar, so he always has to have some kind of mouthpiece with him.
Well, he does have a bit of a speech impediment. That doesn't help at all.
Right, and that kind of hinders him a little bit. As far as athletic ability, he definitely has that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, for me to get a guy that says that he could be a star, you have to really have that it factor, and Swagger to me just doesn't have that it. He doesn't have that.
Now, here's a tag team that Joshua suggests, and I have to admit, I've pretty well liked just about everything he has except this one. CM Punk teaming with Roddy Piper, taking on John Cena, teaming up with Hulk Hogan.
Now, this is the one that's probably more far-fetched than all of them, especially after recent developments within wrestling. I don't know. I actually would like it. I don't know if it'd make for a good WrestleMania match, but I think it'd be nice.
Well, the last time I saw Piper, he looked drunk. And I'm thinking he wasn't drunk. That's just him and Father Time not getting along.
Well, now Hogan's going to be at WrestleMania 30. That's already been confirmed.
Yes.
In what role and what capacity is still up in the air right now.
You know it, brother.
Right now, it looks like he might be serving as like kind of a host, kind of like The Rock did a couple years back. Just because Hulk Hogan is not physically able to perform right now.
I wonder if they're going to be using his Real American ring music.
Yeah,
I mean, so. WWE still owns the rights to that.
Absolutely they do. They should.
Okay. For the USA title, another 3-way match. This is his biggie for the evening. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins.
And I actually think this is going to happen.
Now that I think is doable. I think it would be a hell of a match. But the only thing is, for me, the outcome of that match sticks out to me like a cockroach on a white carpet. I mean, who else could it be? It's got to be Roman Reigns.
It's got to be Roman Reigns. So yeah, I mean, of course, we'll get into reasons why when we do the Royal Rumble recap. But yeah, absolutely. And that, to me, that's a match that could happen at WrestleMania. I did find a really good article about projected WrestleMania matches as of right now. Mm-hmm. And in one of them that really pops out that looks like is going to happen, Ryback versus the Ultimate Warrior. It'd be a fun match.
Be fun. I'm just questioning the shape of the Warrior.
Oh, apparently this guy's jacked. He's still jacked.
Well, granted, he does own his own gym.
Right.
And his real name escapes me right now. He does own his own gym, so I know he does work out. So he has the ability to be to be his former cut self. But you got to admit, an awful lot of water has flowed under that bridge.
I think it would just be an opening match. It'd be the first match you see on WrestleMania. Let him do his run in, it has to be a short match. Give it 5 minutes. Let him squash Ryback. I can do probably a very accurate impersonation of the Warrior just as soon as he enters the ring coming in from backstage. What's that? Probably so.
Yeah,
probably so.
He's going to be winded real quick. Lungs his age, it's just not going to happen. He can't be that much older than I am, though.
No.
I mean, I'm 55. So how old do you think the Warrior is?
I don't know. Probably close to there. Probably a little older. I'm looking it up right now.
And you're thinking that it's possible he might go up against who?
Ryback.
Yeah. At best, that's going to be a sideshow match.
Like the only reason why is because apparently the plan was to have Goldberg versus Ryback, but it looks like the Goldberg talks are over. They just can't agree on money. And so that's the reason they're kind of going with the Ultimate Warrior, especially since they're inducting him into the Hall of Fame this year. Well,
that means Ryback's going to have to take a fall.
Oh, yeah. I think, shoot. How could he, why wouldn't he want to? It's the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
why not?
But I think a lot of people give Warrior, and all due respect to him, I'm a fan.
He's 54, by the
way. He's 54.
Yeah,
a child. I am a fan of the Ultimate Warrior, so what I'm about to say is going to make it sound like I'm not. But I am trying to be realistic about this. I always thought that Ultimate Warrior was a bit overrated because besides shaking the ring ropes, really. What else was there?
Well, Ultimate Warrior had the it factor. He was able to connect with fans.
Now I won't argue that. Yeah, I'll grant you that.
And so what he did performance-wise in the ring was, it wasn't good at all. But he was able to do something that people like Jack Swagger aren't able to do, and that's really connect with the fans.
You think that was that just because of his physique, or was it the makeup?
I think it's the whole. I think it's everything. He was a complete package. Everything from the makeup to the hair to his mannerisms.
What's with the streamers? I never did understand that.
That's all part of the gimmick. I mean, I don't know why, but make his biceps bigger. I don't know. But it's all part of it. The music. I mean, that music was so epic.
Very driving.
Very driving. With his entrance of him running to the ring, and
it reminded me of the group Survivor.
Yeah,
very Survivor-like.
And back then, they would use the entrances farther away from the ring, so he would literally have like a good 40 yards. 50, 60 yards before he even gets to the ring.
And he ran that pretty...
and he ran full steam. Yeah, so it was just I don't know. It was just a combination of everything. Did you ever meet him at WCW? Because I know
I've never,
WCCW.
No, I've never met him.
Oh, okay.
No, I never had the chance to meet him. I would have liked to have heard what he sounds like when he talks.
Like in real life?
Yeah. I would love, God knows I wish I would have downloaded some audio from him because his mic promos What the hell was that?
He's definitely in a world upon his own.
That much is for certain.
So hopefully they'll let him do the match and no promos.
You know, with him being the kind of wrestler that wore makeup into the ring. Let's see, we have him, we have Sting that was known for wearing makeup. Now, Sting was the first wrestler that I can recall seeing makeup. I'm sure he probably wasn't the first, but he's the first one that I can remember. What other wrestlers do you know of that wore makeup?
Road Warriors.
Oh, yeah, the Road Warriors. That's right.
Road Warriors were always a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Umaga was one that wore makeup. Goldust. Goldust is another one.
Well, now Umaga. Wait a minute. Back up. Umaga. Yeah, technically, I mean, he had face paint on. That's true, but that was more tribal.
Right.
I don't know that I would really put that in the same category.
Wow.
Well, because it was tribal. I mean, it actually was the character itself. It wasn't just decoration like the other examples were.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
You
it
see
was
what
part
I mean?
of the gimmick.
Yeah. Most definitely part of the gimmick. But do you understand my distinction I'm making? Yeah. And also, don't forget, this is my all-time favorite wrestler, and I wish they could bring him back, or at least resurrect the character again with somebody who's just as talented, because I was impressed with him, and that was the Boogeyman. Even though I hated the name, I thought that was just really corny.
Yeah, I actually liked it.
Yeah, they could have called him something else.
I thought the Boogeyman character was great.
But I love the character. Yes, I thought the character was awesome.
He was a great performer. I mean, he really took that to...
How did he develop a taste for worms?
I don't know.
The guy actually ate worms.
You know, he was actually like in his 40s.
Was he really?
Oh, yeah. He is not a spring chicken at all.
Maybe that's why he's no longer doing it.
Probably.
Were those his real teeth?
Yes.
Oh. He must have been a hockey player at some time.
I don't know what kind of... he has some kind of skin condition, too, which is why his...
okay.
Like his whole body was painted.
I don't know why I found that funny. Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, I loved his character. I loved the way he looked. I would like to know how they did the smoke out of his staff. I've always wondered that.
I don't know.
Because that was heavy smoke.
Right. Oh yeah, it was.
It wasn't your standard. It was not vapor, like a fog machine. It wasn't that. It was smoke. Because it rolled, and water vapor, like from a fog machine, doesn't roll like that. It doesn't billow. It kind of lays flat. So I've always kind of wondered about that. I would like to see them bring that character back, but I don't know who. Reigns could play a good.
Oh no!
Yeah, because he'd be about the size.
No.
You don't think he could do the character?
No. Well, I'm sure he could, but no.
Who would you think would make a good Boogie?
With the present roster, Titus O'Neil.
I'm glad you brought his name up.
Why is that?
Did you hear about the breakup?
What breakup?
Between Titus and
Darren Young?
And Darren Young?
No,
Yeah, he turned on Darren Young on SmackDown.
Was I sleeping? Oh, was it on SmackDown?
Yeah, it was on SmackDown.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, they did a turn. Darren Young was in the ring. They were wrestling. I want to say the Wyatts is who I think they were wrestling. And Titus never got tagged in. And after the match was over with, Darren Young got up, and this is the first juicing I've seen done in quite a while. In this case, I think the juicing was only because of an elbow that Darren Young took to the mouth. I don't think it was intended. It just happened because I think they knocked a tooth loose or something, and as you know, something like that is going to bleed.
Yeah.
But anyway, after the match was over with, they had the storyline turn where Titus turned on Darren, declaring him, "It's about time I shook this loser off of my back," and just nailed him to the mat and back to the dressing rooms Titus went off to.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see what I'm glad to see that happen, actually, because I never did like the gimmick of the millions of dollars. I always thought
like Titus O'Neil, so it'll be interesting what he could do.
You know, the first time I saw him on NXT, back when I actually watched NXT, I loved his barking. And the second I heard his barking, I thought, okay, this guy's got a gimmick.
It's very JYD-ish.
Yeah, very much so. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I didn't think about that. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's very JYD-ish.
All right, so before we run out of time.
We got a long ways to go.
Okay, good. we got, and this is kind of sad that this isn't the first thing we brought up on this show, because this is huge news in the wrestling world, and that is CM Punk quitting the WWE.
I have heard about that because I know his contract's coming up for expiration.
So he,
you think he won't resign?
Resign?
Yeah,
he's already packed up his ball and he went home. He ain't there, brother.
Isn't he scheduled in for a few appearances?
No, they canceled all his appearances.
I didn't know that.
That's the reason he wasn't at Raw. That's the reason they didn't have any mention of him on Raw. They pulled him from all live events on the WWE website. Apparently, he was. There's a couple of different rumors that are going on about what caused CM Punk just to take his ball and go home. One of them is that he has been burned out for a little bit. So the other one is he wasn't happy with Batista winning the Rumble. Multiple different reports, but this is huge because we're on the road to WrestleMania, and you just lost one of your biggest draws in the company, and everything's been having to be rewritten because of it.
I wonder if this has anything to do with the rebirth of the New Age Outlaws coming back.
I think it's a combination of things because we'll go straight into the Rumble here because let's look at the Rumble. We had New Age Outlaws win tag team titles, Triple H's boys. Kevin Nash surprise appearance at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he made a surprise appearance.
I didn't see that, but okay.
Triple H's boy. Batista wins the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton still wins the WWE Championship. I'm starting to see a trend.
Yeah, all these little Triple H boys.
Yeah. Now some of this stuff I enjoy. The New Age Outlaws kind of rebirth. I really like it.
Yeah.
I've always been a New Age Outlaws fan.
They are a fun team.
They're a fun tag team.
Yeah.
And it really works, having them like in the back pocket of the Authority. So I like it. I like it, and they can still perform.
But isn't it a shame that with all the people they have, they don't have anybody strong enough to carry the load? I mean, this really points a very not favorable image on the current roster with WWE. I think. I'm thinking about this before I say this because this is not very nice.
Uh-oh.
I think as far as the roster is concerned, I think this is about the weakest that I've ever seen the WWE.
I don't think it is the fault of the performers or the talent that they have.
Not totally.
I think it has everything to do with character development and writing. It's just like what Donald Woods said on the show. There's no mid-card. The mid-card, there's no big storylines in the mid-card anymore. You got the top stuff, and that's basically all you got. And then they bring back guys for WrestleMania and don't allow younger superstars to get a rub. One of the biggest things, because I watched the Royal Rumble match itself, and I was able to watch the match itself a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest pops was Dolph Ziggler.
Really?
Yes. When he was eliminated, because he was eliminated pretty soon. He was maybe only in the Rumble for tops maybe 10 minutes, and the crowd booed. The crowd absolutely booed because of his lack of performance in the Rumble. So it goes to show that what the WWE universe is wanting is apparently not on the same page with WWE. Or it could be now, because when the and we're totally skipping subjects here.
That's okay.
But moving from the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan not being in the Rumble, there was a huge amount of backlash on that one.
Well, I got to tell you, when I saw the results of the Rumble, I remember thinking one thing was, God, I'm glad I didn't spend my money on that.
Me too.
Because every single result was like, really?
Yeah, it was 100% predictable.
Oh, yeah.
100% predictable. And poor Rey Mysterio.
Everybody was Reddit that night.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio was number 30. So from about 22 on to 30, there were Daniel Bryan chants constantly. And so number 30 hits, they're expecting to hear that music. And they get Rey Mysterio, and the crowd just boos. And they're not booing the performer. They're not booing Rey Mysterio. They're booing the fact that Daniel Bryan, everyone's golden boy that we want to see, is not in the Rumble.
Wow. And Daniel Bryan must have been home watching this on the tube, just chuckling.
Well, he was backstage.
Oh, yeah, probably.
He was backstage, and I guarantee you, I mean, if I was him, I would be sitting in the chair, just leaning back, going, well.
You guys brought this on yourself.
You guys brought this upon yourself.
This brings to mind one of my criticisms, and this is possibly one of the reasons why I have the opinion of the roster being the weakest that it's ever been that I've seen, is because of the problem of the writing. Do you know what I see as the biggest problem of the writing that they have?
What's that?
The fact that they have writing. I think they should be going back to their roots. Cut out this crap about having, okay, we're going to have this script and we're going to say this, and then I want you to respond this way. Look over to the camera with disdain. Cut out this bull crap and just simply say, okay, when you go into the match, here's what we want it to end. Now you guys call it in the match and make it happen.
Right.
That's the way it's always been done leading up into this. And I mean, some of the most iconic matches of all time happened before this current system of writing came into being.
Right.
There's nothing been truly iconic happening within the squared circle since they began turning this into a Cecil B. DeMille production. And I don't think it ever will until they return to that root of letting the creative process occur in the ring.
And another reason for that is looking at promos. Most of those wrestlers, especially the young guys, they memorize a script on their promos.
Yeah.
Wade Barrett's a perfect example of that.
Oh, yeah.
I like Wade Barrett, and I kind of actually like this angle that he's doing. But that thing is 100% memorization. There's no feeling, there's no creativity. And let's look at the most creative talkers in the business. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, yeah.
He had no script. Rock had no script. Ric Flair doesn't have a script, even though sometimes he should have.
Yeah.
John Cena doesn't have a script.
Yeah.
And those are all guys that are megastars.
And the big thing there is they are personalities and they're allowed to be so.
Exactly.
You cannot bear in mind that in professional wrestling, yes, it is predetermined. No, it is not choreographed, because there's no way you can choreograph that many moves down to the precise moment. So the moves are by and large called in ring, and that at least they're retaining that portion of it. But they're not allowing the personalities to be personalities. They're saying, okay, here's what your personality is saying. And it's really hard to write copy for another person to read and make it sound believable. It's almost impossible to do.
Right.
So since you're not hiring actors, you are hiring really, truly athletes,
right,
who have this amazing athletic ability. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But you're also trying to put them into the mold of being an actor, and that doesn't work. But then what do I know?
What do we know? We just do a show.
Yeah. No, but I think I have a very valid point. And I think if they went back to more of okay, let the wrestlers call the entire storyline. We'll set them up with the basics. Here's where we want you to end up. Now you guys work it out amongst yourselves of how you do that. I think the overall quality of the product would probably improve if they allowed that to happen.
Well, let's look at some more recent guys. CM Punk was really made when they said, "Here's a microphone, talk."
Yeah,
and he was and he was made. In my opinion, I don't know if anyone's actually doing his writing. I don't think they are. Bray Wyatt is another one. And the only reason I don't think anyone's doing his writing is because of the fact that the stuff he comes up with and the way he presents it, the way he says it, it's too natural for it to be a script. I
don't know. Maybe in his case, I would tend to disagree with you. I think his is scripted, but I think Bray just happens to be the rare good actor.
Well, that's true. That might be true.
I think he is good at what he does. And I think his is scripted, but I think in his case it's working because he knows what he's doing.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is these guys are by and large athletes. And I have nothing against athletes, and I'm going to say that publicly because if I don't, they're going to kick my butt. but they are athletes, and let's face it, they're not trained thespians here.
Right.
So when you hand them the script, it's kind of like, hiring some gourmet chefs and then giving them a can opener and a can of Campbell's and saying, come up with something good here, guys. It's just not going to work.
It's true.
But that's for whatever the cause. And some other great performers that were allowed to ad lib. You could continue these examples that you were giving by just simply going back in time. Look at people like Roddy Piper.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, he was the king of them, the king of the one-liners.
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty. That's not who I was thinking. I was thinking Bobby Heenan.
Oh yeah.
But Bobby Heenan was just
great example.
Oh yeah, classic. Gorilla Monsoon. He was the ultimate straight guy.
I love Gorilla Monsoon.
The ultimate straight guy, and to a very large extent, Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
I mean, he could roll with the punches on an interview promo just better than anybody else, and I think they all did that without having their hand held.
Right.
So, now we're up into the corporate world of the WWE, and it's a Cecil B. DeMille production every week, and that's fine. I like the idea that they're trying to be creative, but I think the wrong people are being creative. I think that ought to be just left to the wrestlers. Let the guys who are wearing the tights let them
go.
Let them do their job.
Let them go.
Yeah, let them do their job.
Let them wrestle.
Yeah, it's one of my. I don't do very many things well in my life, but one thing I've always done well was whenever I hired talent to work with me or for me in whatever capacity. I always followed this one philosophy, whether it had been in radio or whether I was performing, and you can attest to this because you have worked with me on some shows.
Yep.
And that was the fact of, here's what I want. Now you find a way to get there.
Right.
And I didn't really give you that much detail or lead.
Right.
I just, because if I didn't think you could do the job, you wouldn't have had the job.
Exactly.
So, let the wrestlers do their job. Let them do it. Oh, and before I forget, Cornette.
Oh yeah, Jim Cornette.
Now he would have to be the undeniable king of the ad-libbing. I mean, he could come up with storylines that would last weeks on end.
Oh yeah,
and worked well. But I just can't understand why they keep going with the writers, and they go through so many of them.
Right. Well, there's a lot of them now. I can't think of how many there actually are, but there's. It used to be just like back in the day, 3 writers, and that was or 4 writers. Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard was involved in it, and Vince Russo.
Now that wasn't too bad because at least we had wrestlers.
Right.
At least we had that.
Right.
I wonder if any of their writers have a wrestling background.
Some of them do, some of them don't. I know
some of them do, really?
Some of them do. Not a lot of them. They look for more entertainment value. And I heard on previous podcasts from former WWE writers is they are told, by people that they know within the company that when you interview, you don't say that you're a wrestling fan because they're not looking to hire wrestling fans. They're looking for people that can write TV.
Now, how much of a mistake do you think that is?
I think it's a huge mistake. I think it's
I mean, who better to know how to write than a wrestling fan?
Exactly.
I mean, I in a way I can kind of understand it because looking at it from one aspect, talking strictly from a radio point of view, the last person you want programming a radio station is one of the listeners of that radio station.
That's true. Because
all of a sudden, what you're going to have is like if you had me programming a radio station, you'd hear John Denver and Jim Croce nonstop, right? From sunrise to sunset. Even though I've been a program director, and no, I didn't really do that. But that's the kind of issue that they're trying to avoid here. Right. But in the same respect, they could put in some diehard wrestling fans as writers with some restraints placed on them, or at least some guidance from somebody in the room.
Just let them come up with ideas. It doesn't hurt. The worst they say is no.
And I can't help but wonder if they're using, oh my God, and I hope this isn't the case, but they really show all the symptoms that they are, focus groups. I think focus groups are the worst thing that could happen, and I bet you they are using focus groups.
I bet they are to a certain degree on some stuff.
Well, I know like a lot of television stations will survey the audience and think, okay, what'd you think of this? And what'd you think of that? What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? And all of a sudden you've got something built by a committee. And they usually come out looking that way. Take a look at any of our local newscasts here. And I know I'm making friends when I say that. But I mean, gosh, it's horrible. The landscape is absolutely horrible when you start making things by committee. If you're going to be creative, you got to let the creative people be creative. You cannot allow them to be dictated by a committee.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. A committee, one of the best examples of what a committee is one time was I heard a good example of that kind of productivity. Look at a mule. A mule is nothing more than a horse that was built by a committee. And that's what you get out of it. You know, the Titanic was built by professionals. The Ark was built by an amateur.
Right.
So, I mean, there's another allegory that you can kind of take off to the bank, but I think it serves to illustrate the point rather well.
It does. Oh, very much so.
So where do you see the WWE headed in the immediate future? Do you foresee any of this improving at all?
I think it will, and I think it's all going to stem on the WWE Network.
Now, here's something. The more I'm thinking about that, the bigger of a mistake I think that is.
Why?
Who is not going to be able to get that?
People without internet.
And did you realize that just about describes anybody who lives in the country?
I mean, I don't know the ratio of people that have it and who don't.
Okay. Now, first off, as far as the amount of people available who are going to be able to support that financially, yes, it's going to work. That math does add up. But there's a huge number of people that they are just literally leaving out in the cold because I'm not going to say it's the majority. It is a minority. It's a small number of people, but I'm thinking of this as being a human situation now. If you can imagine being in a position where the WWE is looking at you going, I know you're not going to be able to get this service and it sucks to be you. I think that's just a terrible idea to have. See, anybody who lives within a major metropolitan area has the ability, for the most part, this is probably some exceptions, but for the most part, those people do indeed have the ability to get high-speed cable of some kind, be it DSL or high-speed internet of some kind, be it DSL or cable.
Right.
And then right now in the United States, those are the two fastest modes of internet. And that's pretty much what you have to have in order to be able to use a streaming service like the WWE Network. However, anybody who lives in the outlying area of those major metropolitan areas, which is an awful lot of people, they cannot get the cable internet because there's no cable out there. Okay. The most I can hope for is DSL, and even that doesn't extend into those areas. Anything beyond that, you have the poor schmucks who are left with nothing more than satellite internet, and 99 times out of 100, those are going to have data caps on them. And once they hit the data cap, their service slows down to less than the speed of a dial-up modem. I know for an absolute fact and from firsthand experience that both DirecTV and Dish Network's version of internet satellite has data caps on it as little as 10 gigabytes.
Oh, wow.
So if you stream one movie or play one game, you are out of your data for the month.
Oh, wow.
And everything's going to come to a screeching halt. None of these people are going to be able to benefit from WWE Network. And that leaves an awful lot of people out in the cold. And even though, yes, they still have enough people in like Chicago, Miami, New York City, even here in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Los Angeles, Houston, Seattle, and these big major markets, they still have, Denver. They still have enough people that's going to make that a profitable venture for the WWE. I just think it leaves too many people out in the cold, and I don't think they're really serving their best interest. Well,
but those people are still going to get access to what they already have. Monday Night Raw is not going to go to the WWE Network.
Well,
or at least not for right now.
I have always said, a long time ago, I predicted commercial radio will not be in existence in a short amount of time, and we are rapidly reaching that point now. That is almost here.
Right.
When cable TV first went on the air, I remember the big outcry was, all right, we can watch TV, and a lot of the channels we'll get, like HBO and stuff like that, will all be commercial free. Try to watch it now. Any pay-per-view, try to watch a pay-per-view without a commercial. And there are a lot of commercials that are in there that are really well disguised in the form of product placement, but commercials are commercials are commercials. You recall when about a year or so ago, Monday Night Raw had one night where they went commercial free.
Right.
Commercial free, my ass. I mean, you saw this big old bucket of KFC chicken sitting next to the announcers, and they're munching on those, talking about KFC. Commercial free, my butt. I mean, come on. I felt so insulted. But what amazed me was how many people I heard talking about that going, yeah, they didn't have a single commercial in that. You idiots.
Well, they never said it wasn't going to be advertising or
that's not
free.
what I would call commercial free. But yeah, you're right. They never said it was advertising free. Boy, did they have advertising. They probably had more advertising with that than they had of actual designated commercial breaks.
Right.
But my point is, we've been not lied to by the media, but we've been set up so many times when we were all thinking, okay, we're going to get this, we're going to get this, we're going to get this. And then when all was said and done, we didn't get that. Yeah. I think SmackDown and Monday Night Raw, at least within the next 2 years, will no longer be on television.
Huh.
I really see that happening, and I think that's a crying shame.
It could happen. Very well could happen.
They certainly are headed in that direction. And the WWE, to their credit, has positioned themselves as a company where they don't need the networks. They don't need to be on TV.
No.
They don't need to. And right now, that is a massive expense for them.
Right.
And how much cheaper would it be for them just to stream it on the internet?
Yeah.
That would cut their costs just tremendously. But I hate to see it go that way, because I am somewhat of a traditionalist, and I would hate to think that I won't be able to turn on the television on Monday nights and no longer watch wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I can see that.
I don't know. That's just one man's
I'm the kid of the future, so.
Okay, but how would you feel, though? In all honesty, let's say you and your family decided we're going to move to the country and to enjoy the country life. And all of a sudden you get out in the country and you find out, well, now some of the stuff that you had in the city, you don't have it anymore because the technology just does not exist yet. And here you've got a 6-month contract with WWE Network, and they're taking $10 out of your account every month. Right.
I mean, I see where you're at. It's just, I don't know. I'm sure they're just weighing the good with the bad.
Now, hopefully, the local area networks, the LANs, like Cox Cable, Comcast, and things like that, they're going to be expanding their services out further and further and further. And I know they would like that because they'd be making more money with more customers. Mm-hmm. But maybe the computers will be saturated so much, computer networks will be saturated as much so that they will be able to do that. And by the way, speaking of the word network, I have a real problem with that. It's not a network. It's not. And whenever I first heard about the WWE Network going on, like a lot of other people, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a premium channel that you can purchase on your local cable or satellite system. You can't. Yeah. It's not a network.
No, it's not a network.
I just don't understand why they call themselves a network. I mean, Netflix doesn't even call themselves a network. and it's nothing more than professional wrestling Netflix.
Right. You're right.
So, I've got a real problem with that. I think that's a little less than honest.
Boy, I tell you what, we are never going to miss a week because obviously you had some stuff like built.
I'm like a hungry man in the smorgasbord.
I know, man. You just went to the buffet and you just went to town.
My throat's raw. You take over.
Oh, where'd we at? I mean, I don't even know.
I don't know.
Where'd we leave off?
I don't know.
All right, so back to the Royal Rumble match itself.
Oh, yeah, wrestling.
Yeah, let's go back to wrestling. Batista won the Royal Rumble. Big outcry for Daniel Bryan to be in it. Batista was booed the whole time. He even made some gestures to some fans that weren't very nice. Oh. And he thought the cameras were off, but they weren't. But the next night we did kind of see a little bit of redemption, and I think this was because of the CM Punk leaving WWE. They had to do some quick rewriting, and that was Daniel Bryan coming, facing the authority and saying, "Hey, the yes movement's upon us. You heard the cries of the people, and this is going to set up the Daniel Bryan versus Triple H match for WrestleMania.
Well, with every bad show, there are always some good results that can come of it.
Right.
So that's one. That's one shining example. I'm just sorry to see that it had to come at the expense of a lot of fans, because a lot of fans spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And really didn't get a whole lot in return.
No.
I hope that does not impact their future ticket sales. It could, so they better be careful. I think WWE is beginning to walk a fairly narrow wire here.
You never know. You never know. It's just, it was very disappointing. I mean, the Rumble matches are always fun.
Sure.
And they didn't have a lot of surprises, really. I mean, Kevin Nash, Sheamus returned, which we knew that was happening. Sheamus looked good. Oh, and then talking about the Rumble match itself, the one guy that did get the rub that he deserved, Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Amazing performance by him in the Rumble. And they are setting that man up to be a star.
Now, he was the guy I was hoping would come out winning it, to be honest with you.
It came down to him and Batista.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. It was really cool. He set the elimination mark. He beat Kane's all-time elimination. So, which I predicted, by the way. If you want to give him a rub,
yes, you did.
Have him break Kane's record, and that's what they did.
By the way, since you used the word elimination, we got the Elimination Chamber coming up here.
Yeah.
I love the idea that they're setting up right now between the Shield and the Wyatts.
Yeah.
They're starting this feud here. Who do you think's going face?
Shield.
Not
the Wyatts.
I could see that pendulum swinging in one of two ways. Or do you think we'll wind up having two sets of anti-heroes?
Yeah, it could be two sets. But as of right now, Bray Wyatt's setting himself up for the feud with John Cena.
Yeah.
So it'd be very interesting to see how that's going to work out.
Well, the very fact that they have the all three members of the Shield in the Elimination Chamber, I think this is really a really good prelude to the fact that I truly believe, I think as you do, that they're getting ready to disintegrate that particular faction altogether.
Yeah, they're
that's a great setup for it. I mean, that's a perfect way to do it, because they've already started showing little bits and pieces of cracks in their fabric right now. And I think the Elimination Chamber is a great way to set that up, and I love that kind of match. Now, how many people, refresh my memory, in the Elimination Chamber, do you remember how many people they need for that?
6, I believe.
Is it just 6? I thought it was more than.
I think it's 6.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then they got everybody they need for it.
Right.
Between the Wyatts and the Shield, they're ready to rock and roll. So, and I've never have you ever seen an Elimination Chamber match?
Yes.
Have you? I've never seen one. I would like to see one.
Oh, let's look them up on YouTube. They're all over the place.
I don't know why I didn't think about that.
That's how I watch them. Oh, yeah.
I do everything else on YouTube.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're fun. They remind me of the old war games. So I've always enjoyed them.
Man, this has been a quick hour, but you're right. I had things bottled up way too much.
Yeah, you did.
Oh well. What can I say? You got to let the dam burst.
That's true.
Coming up, next big pay-per-view is going to be the Elimination Chamber, right?
Yes.
We're also going to see about possibly scheduling in a guest that, from what I understand, has at least performed a few shows with ECW, has some kind of a wrestling background. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on this guy. I'm not going to say who it is just yet, because I don't know. You just never know what's going to happen.
And he hasn't agreed yet.
That's true. I haven't offered any money yet. But if it's the kind of ego I think it is, that probably will happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, next week we are going to be back at our regular time with our regular 30-minute format. So be sure to join us here. Don't forget to reach out to us. Send us an email at sci@wbward.com for...